Well, y'all, welcome to She Gets It podcast. I got a good show for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got the Hard Luck Show. I did a show with them a few months ago, and they're here. They're not here physically in Georgia, but they're in Cali, giving me some Cali swag today. So welcome to She Gets It.
Yeah, we got some Georgia swag over here.
Yes. Yes. I think we have similar heat right now because it's hot as shit in Georgia. It's like 90 degrees type weather in Georgia.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. 90. That's hot.
But you got 90, but you got it with humidity, right?
Yes, and that's worse.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
I'd say something. I actually like humidity. That doesn't trip me out at all. Florida, I love tropical. I love down south hot humidity. I swear to God, I do. Doesn't bother me at all. I am not one. And if it's 110 in Arizona,
I can't do it.
It's dry heat, I just give them one of these chops to the throat. I'm like, 110 is 110. I don't care if it's wet or dry. It's hot.
Yeah.
How y'all been since we last recorded?
How have you been, Big Lux? First of all, let me explain. My partner over here, my partner in history making.
Mm-hmm.
This legacy that is the Hard Luck Show is Mr. Steve Lux Luciano. And for those people who are fans of the Chantel Show, she gets a little gleam in her eye every time she sees this. Come on. Hey, am I lying?
Stop it.
Steve's a big guy, you know. He's done some postgraduate work in certain institutions. He's got lots of tattoos.
Oh,
yeah, come on, bro. That's when you hear him talk like that. When he goes, "Oh boy," I mean, come on. That's he likes to play it home. I blow. He likes to play it humble.
I tell you, there's not. I mean, I'm steady busy. We've been busy over here. I think, I got to say, it's the Hard Luck Show, but it's really a lot. It's really the Chauman life, in many ways, because steers the boat so much, does a lot of the heavy lifting. But Chauman also has, he's always in the middle of some kind of like development and media stuff, or he's in court fighting trials, and then he's coming here. So it's like real high energy, important shit happening everywhere. He comes and shares it. So I think in pertinence to the show, there's been a lot of things going on with Chauman there. He's had his hands full, and I think we've all been kind of busy, Sean included.
Mm-hmm.
We've been all been pulling together and bringing what's going on with us into the show, and figuring out different ways, bringing on recurring guests that people have been asking for. We've been taking a bit of account and interacting with our listeners on different shows that we're going to be doing coming up. And we've done a little bit of this with you, where we're getting across a little bit, which I love. So the show's growing, and I like making bonds with people in other states, like you, that are opening up and holding spaces for discussions, no matter what they be, but important messages that need to be heard. So I commend you, and I'm glad that we're in alliance together. We're all working together, man.
Coast to coast.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Podcast Nation.
That's it. Well, I'll tell you what, our audience, they love the Chantel Show.
Same over here. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, congratulations. This is such a good show." I'm just like, good. I just pushed it. I pushed the shit out of that show, and it was really good. I probably listened to it twice.
It's really good. So what did your people say? Was there any highlights for them? Or
they were like, you know what? This is regular Sean Thomas, talking about her throat and her edibles. We love it. They're used to my mouth.
Right.
Hey, you guys consuming cookies brand out there?
Not so much cookies. The people that I know, they're into like gummies and things that look regular, but if you know, this is not regular.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the brand cookies, the cannabis company.
No, I haven't really seen them out here like that.
Yeah, all right, good. I just wanted to know that. All right, good.
But what's your relationship to cookies, Steve?
Because I'm working closely with them and Vibes, which is a very big rolling paper company. Cookies is one of the biggest cannabis brands in North America. And we're very, very large out here on the West Coast. And we're moving. We're opening a store in Miami. And I was curious if you were familiar with the brand or not. But if you're telling me you're not, then you know what's going to happen, Chauman. We're going to get you out. We're going to get you out a package of some product, of some.
Oh, we're going to take care of Chantal, right?
Stuff. You're going to spread the word for me out there, and I'm going to take care of you. How's that sound?
I got you. Yeah, people down here love food, period. So if you bring that down here, it'll do perfect.
What is that about what is it that captivates so many people, me and Chauman included, with the food down south? Like, what are you guys doing? And especially there, Atlanta, like in the food, it's made such, so you guys make so much noise. Whole area, man. What's going on over there with the food?
I would want to say there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of space, and people are always trying to figure out what we don't have already, and it just booms, and it takes just like a little bit of people to spread the word, and it's done. Like Slutty Vegan popped up here, and it's just everywhere now, and people travel all over to come to Slutty Vegan. I was just like, man, lines wrapped around the corner. So if you have like an idea and you want to push it, Atlanta's a good place to push it.
How is vegan food doing in a place that is notoriously meat centric with barbecue? Like, what's
excellent, because people keep figuring out a way to do a healthy version of what is unhealthy, but it tastes like it's not healthy. And it's really a good thing here, and people are eating it up. There's so many vegan restaurants here now.
Right on. Well, that's a California. I mean, you know, in California, vegan restaurants is something that is on the regular. In fact, I took my wife to Crossroads last night, which is like a 5-star vegan restaurant. And dude, I went way off my eating legend. I blew it fucking out.
Chantal, I've actually been waiting this morning to hear what he did at this restaurant. This is an infamous, probably one of the best vegan restaurants in Los Angeles. What'd you do last night? Come on, tell us.
I first of all went there, right, and I purposely worked out yesterday and ate minimally all day because I knew
you were about to consume.
I was going to show up at the show.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Hey,
come on.
So, and my wife, she's vegan. We're both vegan.
Yeah.
Right. So we're rubbing our hands together and we're already hungry.
She can put down a quarter of a horse too. Let's hear it.
No problem.
Let's hear it.
No problem, pal. Done deal.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. And then you look at them and go like this. Boom, boom, boom. So there, right? And they got us like, you know, I slipped the lady an extra 50 and said, listen, you know, something.
Keep the bread coming.
I go, like baskets are coming. I go like this. I go, listen, all right, every 8 minutes, right? Keep that vegan pepperoni pizza coming until someone passes out. Then bring it every 15 minutes. You do
dude, fuck, did them in Goodfellas where you like tap the little fucking 50 right in the little.
I do. I go like, what's the matter? I came in through the back. I came in through the back. My wife's like, what's the matter? You don't want to go through the front? I come through. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we sat down. Now listen to this, bro. So already we start out with appetizers. And my wife, man, if there's anybody that loves to look at a menu and order off the menu and give the waiter, maitre d', like the instructions on how it's all going to play out, it's my wife. She's a shot caller. Like when you go into a restaurant, she's the kingpin. Ain't nothing getting by her. Ain't going to be no bullshit. Don't fuck with me. You fuck with my food, you're fucking with me. That's my wife. So we go in there. It's the truth. So we go in there and she's like, okay, we're going to get a round of the oysters for the table. No, she says table. It's just me and her.
All right.
The table, we're going to get the Impossible cigars.
Oh, shit. Impossible cigars?
Yeah.
What
And the deep fried stuffed squash blossoms.
Chauman.
Deep fried squash blossoms.
Ah,
Bro. Now, the Impossible cigars are
just the name sounds dangerous.
bro.
Oh.
The Impossible cigars are
It's like a sausage.
It is. It is. It's a vegan sausage.
I knew it.
It's like
Sounds smoky.
it's smoky, my little toki. Don't you worry. It's like rolled up, right? Like
rolled up all night.
Pepperonis, like little pepperonis, but they're vegan, smoky, salty, spicy.
Awesome.
Then the deep fried squash blossoms, they have a vegan ricotta inside.
Oh.
And these squash blossoms are huge and they're deep fried and they come on a bed of like giant, I don't know what you would call it, pink Himalayan salt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then comes the oysters. Now the oysters, I don't even really know what's in them.
Right.
I'm not sure how they achieve this necessarily, but what comes out are these petals from an artichoke.
Wow.
And on the edge of the artichoke, like what would be the oyster shell, they put like little creams and some kind of vegan caviar. I don't even know what the fuck it is.
Right.
Some kind of fried crispy goodness and some other things. So it tastes like an oyster on the half shell.
Amazing.
Dude, I burned through all that. Then my wife's like, vegan Caesar. She has to have Caesar with everything. She ordered the pepperoni pizza, but this is like a really good pizza. When I say vegan pizza, it's like the crust is crispy and it's buttery.
I like that.
Yeah, it's got like a crunch. And my wife doesn't like spicy food too much, so she takes the pepperoni and gives it to me. I fucking eat it like it's chips. I'm just like, boop, 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 no problem.
Right.
Right. And then I had the nettle ravioli, stinging nettle ravioli.
What's nettle, right? What's nettle?
Nettles are a plant that grows like in the wilds up in Washington in Northern Europe. And they're stinging nettles. You walk by them, you don't notice anything. 5 minutes later, it feels like your leg's on fire.
Really?
They're super healthy.
Mm.
They're green.
Mm.
They're like a sweet dandelion green, kind of. So when you cook it down, right, and you put it inside the belly of a ravioli,
Oh.
fan-fucking-tastic, and a masala sauce that I'm telling you, bro.
Unbelievable this sound.
Is it
Oyster,
spicy?
it's not spicy.
More on an Italian thing.
Yeah, it's an Italian. Exactly. But the masala sauce had such a deep flavor that, like, I don't know if you've ever eaten something that had like a deep flavor.
And Marsala's wine in reality.
Yeah.
Achieve this.
Well, you can use wine in vegan.
Sure, right.
But the point of the matter is like, I don't know if you've ever eaten anything that had a deep flavor that it felt like your soul was tasting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, you feel
You.
right, like all the cartilage in your body feels like it's strengthening up just a little bit. Like you're getting some heavy shit. Now listen to this. I burned through that, and I'm just sitting there, and I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm gonna get another entree. I had 2 entrees.
Wow.
No problem. Done deal, pal.
What else did you get?
Boom. I fucking got, and this is the craziest thing. Now, I'm like looking at this. I go, you know what? I'm going to get.
You ate a plate of raviolis and you're getting something else.
And the hors d'oeuvres.
Okay.
So I go, give me the eggplant fillet.
Okay. Now,
On a bed of mashed potatoes.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about that.
Go ahead, please do, because this is a phenomenal.
Now, I've thought about how are we ever going to achieve a vegan steak or a vegan piece of meat, right? I've always thought about this. But I've never in my mind imagined until you said it right now, an eggplant fillet. So are you telling me that they take a thick ass piece of eggplant the size of a steak, cut it like and do something to it to make it mimic a steak?
Well, let me just tell you what happened. Okay. I saw eggplant fillet. So I'm thinking griddle, crispy something, right? Hey, Special K, the intern, is here wearing his I don't know what that is, soccer yellow Brazil
Power Ranger shirt.
Get in here, boy.
Yeah.
Get in here. Listen to the big people talk. All right. So then it's okay. So that's what I'm thinking's coming, right? Like an eggplant parmesan or
I'm
something.
not thinking anything like that based off of what the name.
Right. But I didn't know, really. I didn't think about it too hard. It was,
Okay.
I was like, whatever, flick. So then the waiter comes out. Okay. And it's a piece of eggplant.
Of course.
That's maybe like 2.5 inches thick, 3 inches thick.
Interesting.
And it's laying and it's charred on the outside.
Like
And
a
it's
T-bone steak.
Right.
like a filet mignon.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it comes out on top of a bed of mashed potatoes.
So aesthetically, you guys, as this is being brought over, it looks like a filet mignon on a bed of mashed potatoes.
1,000%. And whatever they did to the eggplant, okay, it on an island of mashed potatoes, and
with
it's
a sauce
circled with a
around
mushroom gravy.
Got it. I've actually had steaks like this.
Exactly.
Okay.
And whatever they fucking put, whatever these fucking macaron put on this fucking out of this mama, I try to tell you, you don't like my steak, I
Right.
slap in your face.
Marron.
Hey, just get it on. The eggplant was strangely flaky, like muscle tissue.
Mm.
What? Say that again.
The eggplant, 3-inch eggplant, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't go where the seeds are. So whatever they cut out,
They cut around it. They cut by
so there weren't a bunch of seeds.
none.
The meat was like muscle fiber, kind of the way they prepared it. I don't know how they did it. I don't know.
So you needed a knife.
Not only when you cut through it, but you started to see layers, like almost like a fucking steak.
Like maybe you could cut the wrong way type thing.
Yeah, like you know how like all the
The
striations go?
muscles, yeah.
It was just like that.
Wow.
It was fucking
And now did it taste like eggplant?
It did. I'm not gonna say
That it tasted like meat.
I'm not gonna say that.
Didn't have meat flavor.
It didn't taste like meat, but they braised it in that mushroom gravy. So the mushroom gravy and the eggplant combined made kind of a steak umami flavor. But you would never be like, oh, that's just like a steak.
Well, right. But at the same time, though,
But the texture was.
okay, right. You're saying the texture was. And the other thing that we do know about eggplant is that eggplant is one of those things that can absorb flavor. You can
Right.
do things
It's like
with
a
eggplant.
sponge.
It's like a sponge.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it absorbed that flavor. So I ate. Listen, I'm going to tell you
Now,
something.
I want to go there tomorrow and get it.
Listen, let me tell you.
Because I got a little story next for you.
All right. Well, listen to this. I went fucking. So when I was cutting into it,
Mhm.
now this is going to sound crazy. I don't even know what this is. As I was cutting in it, the outside was charred a little bit. It had like the muscle fiber, and I'm like, fuck, well, I don't know what they're doing. Fuck, I thought it was a vegetable. It started a little, and I cut through it with a little bit of pink.
What?
No, I don't know. I don't know if there's,
Wait, did they ask you, do you want it medium rare? Or
there's a little bit of pink. I don't know if they got some
Damn.
guy in the back with beet juice just squeezing shit. I don't know what. I can't do all that. But I was cut. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that back in my meat eating days.
You're a real carnivore.
Oh,
At
come
heart.
on, dude. I mean, people would take me out to Ruth's Chris, pay for my dinner just to watch me eat a porterhouse for two in one sitting.
He's not lying. Listen,
problem.
he's not lying. This guy was a real meat eater. So
No problem.
he knows meat.
And listen, I was one of those guys that when I took a bite of meat, like when I cut it, the chunk was so big, when I was chewing it, I could barely close my mouth. I'm not even trying to do like a little. I want to feel like I ripped it off the bone.
Right.
So I'm like, big old wad, right?
Right.
And I can't get full off of meat. I could just eat meat. I could take all the beef jerky on Highway 66 from here to Atlanta, destroy it all, no problem. Fogo de Chao, they won't even allow me there.
You got family.
I'm on the way.
Yeah,
They're like, keep out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was taking big bites of the fucking fillet, and it was it was so satisfying.
Okay, I want to hear about dessert now.
Okay, so listen to this. As
You have room for dessert.
oh, come on, Chantel.
This guy can eat. This guy's it's something with this guy.
I can eat so much that I can make everyone around me kind of get grossed out.
And you can not stop eating either. You just eat everywhere all the time.
I've got it timed perfectly. Like I know what my digestion's timing is. So every time like an inch of food starts being digested, I know I got another inch of food. I'm just cycling. Wow. So the waiter, the head chef comes out. Little dumpy guy with who you were. He didn't. I would. No, he came out, Mr. Bowen. No, thank you. Yeah. No, he came out and he
famous attorney.
Yeah. Oh, he came out and he goes, "Hey, I didn't like the way the first pizza came out, so I'm recooking you a new one, and desserts are on me. You can have 2."
Was there something wrong with the pizza?
I didn't even see it. He brought out the second one. Either they forgot and this was their cover story, or there really was a pizza that came out and he's like, "That's too burny. We're making a new one. I better go out and tell them I'm sorry and give them 2
and
fucking."
You just played the game, right?
I was like,
yeah.
Hot fudge sundae and the rhubarb strawberry pie, please.
Yeah.
I said, garçon. And they brought those 2 things out. And I devoured both fucking desserts.
Did your wife have a bite?
Yeah, I let her baby the fucking sundae. Like she was noodling around with it. Right. You know what I mean? Noodling around. Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm messing around. You know, tasting this, tasting that. She was like, she didn't know what rhubarb was. Wow. My wife know what rhubarb was. She's from the city.
Some people don't.
Yeah. I don't. She's like, what's rhubarb? Right. And then she said it. I'm like, you know what? That is rhubarb. Is she rebar? Yeah. I was like trying to explain to her. It's like a sour celery, right? Which is kind of what it is. And she was like, that doesn't sound like anything I'd want to eat. I'm like, but it's a thing. Trust me, strawberry rhubarb, it's a whole thing. She liked it, but not as much as the chocolate sundae. Sure. I devour both of those. No problem. Damn. That was my big night out yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell what's some of your favorite vegan. I want to hear about what's your favorite vegan dish out there. You have some? Do you have some crazy something you're crazy about?
For me, I don't really eat anything vegan out here. The last time I had something vegan, I was in New York and somebody had made a whole brownie where every ingredient being vegan and it tastes like a regular brownie. Like the butter was vegan, everything was vegan. I'm just like, and then I have a friend here who's completely vegan that moved here from Florida, and she makes all these vegan dishes. So she's supposed to come over here on Monday, so maybe she might make something. But yeah, I like meat, but I don't eat it as much. And for my mom, when she was here, she doesn't eat rice. She doesn't eat a lot of meat, but she'll do cabbage and mixed veggies and shish kebabs that have veggies on it with the eggplant and the mushrooms. I'll taste that every once and again, but I just feel like my body needs meat.
Right.
Hear you.
I'm sure it does, Chantal.
I mean, that eggplant did sound delicious. I had an eggplant lasagna once. That was good.
I had eggplant lasagna on Thursday night with my daughter.
Did you?
Vegan eggplant lasagna, yeah.
How was that?
It was interesting. Well, you want to know, it was interesting. It was interesting. My daughter likes Air One, so we go there and there's different things. But last night, me and Chauman were together, right? We had a business meeting, and when we left, he left with his wife to go to this restaurant in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So me and my buddy, and my buddy's a vegan. I'm more vegetarian, but he's a vegan. And we're like, where are we going to go? So my buddy Paul says, hey, there's a restaurant that just opened up on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. Has another restaurant at another place down on Melrose at Fred Siegel. And he goes, the open up is called Meatballs. So me and Esteban leads in, and Esteban goes, that's great, but I'm vegan. He goes, no. This place, Meatballs, is a vegan restaurant. It's called Meatballs, and it's the guy that owns the restaurant from Fred Siegel's.
I love that. I love that.
So we're like, fuck it. He goes, oh, it's right over here. And he goes, they don't take cash. That's the only reason I haven't gone yet. You know? Yeah, right. So me and Esteban, now this is that director. Shout out to Esteban Orio. Yeah. We drive down the street. We pull up. We park. Nobody's there. Place looks great. Looks like an Italian, arcade, and we sit down and we order, She gets spaghetti and meatballs. I get penne and meatballs. I get this Italian chopped salad. And they serve this garlic bread. These meatballs were vegan meatball. Everything was vegan. Everything that we had was vegan. Italian chopped salad. Italian chopped salad.
What was in it?
Dude, I couldn't figure it out with him either. We're looking at it and it looks like chunks of mozzarella and salami, like the traditional, and garbanzo beans. And you would think it's Italian chopped salad.
Right.
All vegan stuff. But it tastes exactly like a chopped salad.
That's
and
what I like.
And the spaghetti meatballs and penne meatballs off the chain. And the whole dinner probably cost us like $35 for both of us to eat.
Wow.
And it was all marvelous. So shout out to Meatballs on Sunset Boulevard. That place is out of control.
What did Esteban get?
He got spaghetti meatballs. I got the vodka penne and meatballs.
Oh,
and
okay.
we split a chopped salad and garlic bread that they bring this amazing marinara sauce with.
Did Esteban say it was good?
He loved it. He was the one telling him, "Oh, we're gonna be back."
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, up there. We're all
let's do it. Meatball. I love that name. Meatballs.
And Enzo's Pizzeria invited us back.
Enzo's. I mean, that's a real pizzeria. I mean, you can't fuck around with that.
When you come back out here, we're gonna have to take you to some of these spots that we're talking about.
Dude, let's take Chantal on the Cali tour.
Yeah,
Listen,
Chantal.
LA has some good food spots. I've been to LA once for like a week, and they have some good food spots.
Yeah, let's take Chantal on the Cali tour.
You want a Cali tour and feed you?
I mean, yeah, because you might not want to move back. I mean, we might want to stay out here. We don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I will say that I miss about California and New York is the unlimited options of food and salad places. Georgia doesn't have that. We have chicken and wings, fish spots, barbecue, regular, low-level fast food, Chinese spots, but there's no like official salad place that you could like notice go to unless you go like digging for it.
Right.
I do miss that.
Right. So Chantal, this is her. Why is it called She Gets It? What's that? I mean, are you talking about sex or like what is that?
It's called She Gets It because anything that I bring up as a question or people question and they might find like, oh, this is going to be an argument. It's not an argument. It's about understanding. And no matter if you agree or disagree, I get it. Like, I understand you deserve to have your opinion. At the end of the day, I'm going to state mine. You can state yours, but I get it. I get your side of the story, but this is my perspective on everything.
Interesting.
I like that.
I like it too.
That's a really good.
I get it.
Well, you're very clear. That's why you're able to answer that question so well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you think that your fans, Chantal, or your listeners, supporters, what did you think that they would want to know about us after hearing you on our show and you were so explosive?
Well, I know you guys represent the West Side very well on the West Coast, so I had like a whole Cali menu for y'all. So first, I wanted you guys to kind of like tell the audience how you guys got started with the Hard Luck Show.
Yeah, Chauman.
You want me to start that?
Yes, sir.
Well, Big Lux and I, we're two peas in a pod. A real fucked up pod, but we're two peas in a pod. We became friends and soul brothers probably about 12, 15 years ago, something like that, right, Steve? Well, how long?
20.
Is it 20?
Well, yeah.
Jesus, maybe you're right.
Yep.
I didn't realize that. Fuck, when you get to a certain age, everything seems like 5 years ago.
18 to 20.
Yeah, no, you're right. 18 to 20. Technically 19.
There you go. So there you go. 19.
Fuck. Steve and I became friends, we weren't friends then, but we were both part of a movement to better our lives. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve was ahead of me. And I needed a lot of help. I was fat. Remember that? I was chubby, oversized clothes. Everything was XL. I mean, I'm not going 5'6". Everything's XL. I look like some fucked up version of Cousin
I can't
Lewis.
even imagine you bigger than what you are now. That's crazy.
It is because
I didn't know what this guy was gonna do. I was just helping him out, but I couldn't tell everything was gonna be all right because I didn't know if everything was gonna be all right with this guy. Listen, that's what Chauman was.
That's the truth.
That's all these degrees. This was not who you're dealing with today at that time.
No, it was.
That's why I think people don't understand about this show.
Yeah,
They think that it's some certain way as you sit with all these degrees and stuff. You're a different life. But when this fool rolled up, I thought he was about to ask me if I had some change in my pocket. Like you want to get a cup of coffee down the street.
Yeah, dude. When he says I rolled up, I literally rolled up. Like I was like, and listen, at the time, you know, Steve, as you see him now, is more of a suave, handsome guy. But at the time, he was kind of scary. Like he was an intimidating presence because he had this, you know, big push broom mustache, and you know, he had some bass in his voice, and he was up there, and we were part of a thing where it was like, if somebody asks you for help, you kind of have to give it to them. You can't judge on the outsides or anything. You got to do your shit, right? And I kind of knew that, right? And it's true. So I was like, and he got up, you know, and he was talking, and he was like, you know, he had tank top on, and the fucking traps were out, and all the fucking tattoos, and the spider web, all this shit, right? And I'm like, I don't even know what any of that means. I just know that seems like some serious manly shit. That's what I know. I go, that fool must have done something. That dude was tough. And I was scared. And then inside, I was like, listen, bro, if you're really going to be about it, if you don't got the fucking nuts to go up to that guy, stick your hand out and ask for help, then you might as well say goodbye to being successful in life. If you can't ask that guy for help in this situation, that's a true story.
Damn, that's good, Chauman.
So you got up there and you were like this, man. And you know, you did that, fold your arms and then put your fucking knuckles under your biceps, make them a little bigger, right?
Yeah, gain a couple more inches.
And this is what he said. This is what caught my attention. He goes, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
That's a fact.
That's the truth. I've never forgot that, bro. And I remember thinking, like, well, that's some heavy shit, man. That's
Chauman at the time thought that everything I was giving him was really, really heavy, too.
It was. That was heavy. I didn't even know that was a tagline. That was the first time I'd heard that.
Yeah, you thought I created.
Oh, I was like, man, that guy's on something, man. You gotta go out there. If you can't say, yo, what's up? So that's how it started. And then our relationship just evolved over time. You know, in a lot of ways in my early days, you know, Steve pushed me. I'll never forget. I was like, man, how do I dress better, bro? And you're like, you got to take a risk. Take a risk, bro. Take a risk. And I was like, fuck. And I took a risk and it went wrong. But I kept taking risks. And eventually it started to calm down. Things
Did I give you any clothes?
Yeah, you did. I mean, yeah, you gave me, yeah, dude, not only did you give me clothes, but you actually gave me a shirt, a Not Guilty, I think, for my dad, in my dad's size, and my dad was wearing that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, we should have a picture of that.
That would have been fucking classic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, you did. But it was streetwear style stuff. So, you know, that was what it was. And then as time marched on and everything, we just continued to grow and stay in contact and continue to support each other. And then eventually to the show point now, since I took you all the way back to the show point, Steve and I were talking about the old days, and Steve had some thoughts, and he's working on a theater project, and he's working on a book, and he's doing some other things. And I'm working on a book, and I've been working in, you know, I got working in Hollywood and stuff like that. And so we were talking, and as we were talking, we were having the best time, and we were telling the greatest stories, some of them tragic, some of them comedic. And I just turned to Steve and I was like, dude, with all the people you know and your friends and all that other shit, we should just, if somebody was listening to this conversation right now, they would love it. So many facets to it that are fucking hilarious. And I was like, we should do a podcast. And that was as simple as it was. You, your world, your friends, our conversations, and let's just let people in on it so they could be like a fly on the wall.
Right.
And that's how it started. And that's why we did it in the beginning. That was exactly what happened. Nice. We had training. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And the only piece that came in right at that moment was, I said, you know what? My boy Sean Old Blue was, is a civil engineer, and he'll know how to set it all up. And within 2 weeks or something, we were already rolling. We had Esteban on our first show. Now we've got, now I have every Thursday at like 12 o'clock on my lunch. I host, maybe about 12 or 15 listeners that have been with us from the very beginning, and we develop show ideas together. HLS Tribal Council. We've got a theme song. We got guests that are regulars now. Now we've got graphics designers that are starting to give us. Did you see that latest one by Raul with Lepke and Schmitty's twins, where you put Schmitty's head? So that's how it started. That's why we do it. And the biggest thing for us is not to be polished, not to be produced, but raw, unfiltered,
uncut.
Just like you do, Chantal.
The uncut.
That's what I like. That's what's interesting. Who wants a show where they know what's going to happen? No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I asked Chantal, I'm like, why? No. And she was like, man, I heard a couple episodes and you guys had some fucking energy.
Yes.
She was like, so many shows, no energy.
Fuck that.
I hate that. All right, go ahead. What else you got?
So,
come on.
I'm on 3. I'm on coffee number 3 right now.
I'm on like pre-workout number 12. Let's go.
All right. So let's switch to Cali living. So what are your thoughts on the people leaving California right now with everything changing?
Go ahead. Steve.
Okay.
Big Lux.
On Cali living and everybody leaving, I can tell you right now that the people that are leaving are split into 2. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Half of those people flew here. In regards to me, who grew here.
Okay.
Half are a bunch of fucking quitters, right? They're away when the times get tough. All about Cali when things are popping. Oh, now we're, and we've always had it good, and we've always been on and as soon as the heat got a little bit hot, they want to jump up out of the fire, and you do not stand on where they're at and where, and so that's my opinion. They can go. They can leave. The more people that get the fuck out of California, right, the better for the people that really love California.
Right. Good riddance.
Good riddance. Go. We could use the room. Because for every one person that's leaving, there's probably 20 coming.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. And I've had to learn, and especially where I live, which is on the west side of Los Angeles in Southern California.
Right.
We are the most and the first gentrified population on the western side of the United States.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because you're right at the beach.
So I've had to learn that the gentrification that we're suffering isn't the same gentrification that a lot of these other areas are suffering from. You're hearing a lot of talk about gentrification, and I'm not trying to put down any of these areas, but the whole world ain't moving to San Gabriel Valley, right, where you're being gentrified. The whole world ain't moving to the east side of Los Angeles, or the whole entire planet is trying to move to either 2 cities, Santa Monica or Venice.
Right.
At the beach.
Right.
So I say all that to say that for the last 25 years, I know what it's like to have everything around you that you knew being torn down and rebuilded, to have people coming into your area where you grew up and all the faces and colors start to change, start to be removed, and I'm used to that, and I'm staying there, and we're trying to hang on to we're trying to hang on to and tell the stories of and kind of like keep parts of California traditional the way I grew up. I'm real about it. And I think Southern California leads the way for many, many things. I think it led the way for a long time and people didn't acknowledge it.
Right.
But today, I think everybody's on board, and that's why there's a lot of people every minute. Somebody getting off of a plane trying to move here. So Southern California living, I say, come on, we need the room. You're not with the. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to stay here. And Southern California is going to be back on track, and things are going to get figured out, and we're going to win again. And I'm going to be where I was, embedded deeper and deeper. So that's my opinion on like
All right.
You know,
Chantal, we have a very special guest, our intern, Special K, also known as Kevin.
Hey.
Also known
Kevin,
as,
baby.
Hello.
wait,
Hi.
your sexy voice. Come on. Say hello, Chantal.
Hello.
Hi.
Get it situated right. I don't know.
I'm over here trying to record and write with my Power Ranger arm.
Yeah, what happened?
I got in a car accident on the 25th with this young girl driving stupid.
I tell you what, if you were in California, I'd know a good attorney to hook you up with.
I have a whole law firm doing this stuff, so they got me with a good doctor's office and physical therapy.
Listen, you can't rush the recovery. These could be long-lasting injuries. You never know. You gotta make sure that the jury understands that you're a mother and you got a job and you can't be taking this kind of time off work. I mean, that's expensive.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Both of the girls was in the car at the time. It's just like impatient people. Like there was nothing I could do. I had the green light to go through the intersection. While I'm in the middle of the intersection, the girl chose to turn left in front of me. So
left in front of you.
Yeah. So I just like I was in her car.
Man.
Yeah.
But everybody is not. Everybody's okay in the overall sense, right?
Yeah, I'm the one with the most issues right now. My 7-year-old, she was sitting behind me. She got like the seatbelt bruise on her collar. But
well, I'm glad children are okay. I mean, I can't even imagine something happened to my little girl at all.
I know.
I'm like, man, something happened to her. You better run for the fucking hills because I'm coming on to the taking everybody out with me. I don't give a fuck. You hurt my little girl. We're all going down.
Right. And that's how I knew she was young, because after the accident, she came over to me and my daughter's dad, and she was like, "Are one of y'all getting me a rental?" I'm just like, "Girl, this is not how this works. You caused the accident. We're not getting you rental."
Me a rental?
Right. I was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You better move from over here." I was so irritated.
Oh, somebody came at me with that. I mean, I might just black out and not know what I did. It might just be one of those ones where it's like I don't have any consciousness of what happened after that. I just out. I don't know.
People are crazy.
People are crazy. All right. I'm good. Steve?
I'm good too.
All right, sir.
All right, cool. What up, y'all? I hope y'all enjoying the show. Don't forget to check out www.hardluckshow.com to check out their merch, everything that they're doing. Keep up with more episodes for the Hard Luck Show. All right. It's a good podcast, good energy as always. And you can also check out www.whoisshan.com. Let's get back to the show.
All right. Chantal's question is about the people moving out. What are your thoughts, Special K? You're an intelligent, organized man. What do you think?
What do I think? I mean, I don't really know. I don't really I haven't been impacted by people like, or at least I haven't noticed people coming in or leaving. I mean, I just kind of stay where I'm at, so it hasn't really affected me as much as Steve.
So he stays where he's at, so he doesn't really know.
I'm staying right where he's at right now.
My thought is twofold. I got two kind of perspectives. I got the same that Steve has, which is like, if you're gonna move out, it's because you're not making enough money doing what you're doing to stay here.
Right. And that's making them uncomfortable.
And I'm not saying that's a bad. I'm not saying to the extent that like I'm not saying that if you're somebody who struggles with finances and you work real hard, I'm not saying that's okay. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying there's a whole category of people who ain't working. What's up, Big Tiny? They ain't working that hard, but they expect because they're trust fund kids, or they opened up a restaurant because they watched, fucking Master Chef, or they think they're a marketer because they watched Mad Men. Those kind of serious. Those folks that expect a career but don't know exactly what goes into it and don't know how hard it can be. Even podcasting, right? I mean, Chantal, how many people you know are like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. Oh, what's that? Talking? I could do that. And then they put episodes, and then like 8 months goes between each episode because they can't actually get their ass.
Exactly.
Right. So for all of those folks, I say good riddance. I say, this ain't for everybody.
Right.
Like not everybody wants to be a champion.
No.
Not everybody wants to put the work in. No. I'm reading right now the biography of Disney and Disneyland. Okay. Where we sit right now, and I'm not some big Disney guy. I don't walk around with fucking goofy clothes and all that, like in Disney and shit like that. That's the fastest way to get vagina to run away from you, is to wear a lot of Disney shit. Right. So I don't do that. But when you think about Disney, think about this, because I put my mind back to it. There was no Disneyland when he said, and he looked out in Anaheim and was like, see all that fucking farmland? I'm going to build like a fantasy park. And it's going to be like Frontierland and Fantasyland. Think about that. Think about just how much at that time, like the 40s, you would have been like, boy, you are out of your goddamn fucking mind.
Right.
What do you mean?
Nobody got time for that.
Nobody's got time for that. I mean, right. Of course, you're going to think some stupid shit like that. Art Linkletter, close friend of Disney. Disney brought him out and said, this is all going to be a big ass park, amusement park. And back then, amusement parks were kind of associated with carnies. Like they were negative and more. It was like ripoffs.
Right.
Like
con game.
Exactly. Right. Weird way. So Art Linkletter in his mind was like, and so Disney brought him out there. Listen, financially, I got everything tied up in this park. The land around it's going to be 10 times more valuable once the park opens. Right now, it's for like 10 cents, but it's going right. So Art Linkletter, I want you to have the first crack at the land around. And Art Linkletter said in his mind, Art Linkletter, who was the Jon Stewart of his time, okay, just so you didn't understand, he said in his mind, like, wow, Disney really fucked up. He said he made a bunch of excuses why he couldn't buy any of the land. He said every step that he took back to his car cost him $1 million.
Wait.
What? Yeah. Art Linkletter did not believe in Disney's idea, thought Disney had lost his mind, thought the land around the so-called Disneyland, which didn't even exist yet, was not going to be worth anything. And when they walked back to their cars, each step, he counted them. Each step cost him $1 million because he didn't buy in at that time. Same thing as Apple, same thing as SpaceX, same thing as Tesla. All of those are California fucking companies. Don't get it twisted. So California is a place where somebody's going to go and look at a vision and create what's going to be going on for the next 100 years.
Okay.
Right? And if you don't want things to change or evolve for the better, you might leave California. Like in California, if you say, you know what, fuck the police now, for real. Like the police are actually fucking crooked and we're sick of this shit. Or, you know what, maybe gay people should get married and fucking have a birthday cake. I don't give a fuck what you do.
Right.
Let your dick put on a vagina. I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter to us. We don't care. Right? If that kind of way of looking at equality and all that other kind of stuff bothers you, you might move to Texas.
Yeah.
Right? You might be like, well, fuck these liberal pricks. I'm going to Texas.
Uh-oh. Is it that way now?
Absolutely. I think
Well, there you go.
And if environmental shit, you don't like environmental shit, you don't like, moving off like Solar City, all that shit, wind, all that shit, you don't like, you might leave California because it does not matching what you think the politics should be, because it's progressive.
It's progressive, you guys.
So I don't always see people leaving California a bad thing. Couple of things. One is they're also going to exploit California culture, whether they know it or not. So that's part of making the rest of the country like California, is people leaving California. Second of all, when you are making progress, you're moving forward. The people that are leaving, those are the kinds of people you leave behind because they're holding you back.
Yeah.
In this country, we spent too much time trying to build political consensus. Like, oh, let's all just agree. Fuck that. There's a point at which there's no agreement. There's a point at which there's no agreement. There's a point at, like, you would never turn to a rapist and say, all right, well, let me understand your point of view. Why did you think it was okay to do that? Nobody would. Because that's which you can't accept that.
Right.
Same racism, same thing with sexism. It's not acceptable, bro. I'm not going to try to understand your point of view because that point of view is anti-American. So it's out. So that's what I think about the people leaving California.
I like it. I dig it. I think the resisting of change that's going to happen anyway is what has a lot of states held back from being able to function long term. And so if you can't handle, then go where you can handle, and it's fine. And I just think beneficial wise, California will benefit by having less people that are against the progress, like you said.
For sure.
I think it's going to happen naturally anyway.
Right. Exactly. I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
What else you got?
All right. So now that this pandemic is over a little bit, what do you think about these people struggling the PP loans, the Paycheck Protection Program, buying homes, flashy cars, and all of this, and they really don't have a business established? Like legal wise, what do you think is going to happen with the millions of people that's getting caught up right now? Because I know for here in Atlanta, they're getting found like hotcakes.
I'm going to tell you right now. Are you ready?
Yes.
United States government, I don't know, feds or however you want to put it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you robbing a casino, right? There's certain things in the world that just you're not going to get away with, right? You're not going to steal. You ain't going to steal and run a con on the U.S. government's money.
For real.
And the thing is that they're not tripping. Remember, when all these people, they're still arresting people right now that were all part of these riots, running up in these stores, stealing tennis shoes, right, in their cars. Like, all those people are catching cases right now. LA riots in 92, everybody, they went after them. Your little bullshit with you trying to not pay on it, they're coming after you.
Yeah.
And you are definitely not going to like punch him in the face and laugh about it and go run some scam. Like what you're talking about. The guys that are buying the houses on the scam, they're like telling their crew, "How you can do this, we can do this." Like, people think that they're getting away with this. And it's a matter of time before they've got enough people, enough manpower, and enough money to exhaust every avenue. The government's not going to let you do that, So I think, like, have at it. I think there's a lot of. Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay, just check this out. It's kind of like this for me. There is cell phones in every fucking prison in California.
Right.
Everybody's talking on them. Everybody's communicating. There are people that really think they're having like undercover discussions.
Right.
You're going to tell me that they're fucking in space doing shit. Like, they can hear everything that's going on, but they're not tapping all these phones in prison and just gathering all of it.
Right.
It's kind of like that type of thing. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's like you can't do that, and it's not fucking 100 years ago or 80 years ago when you could just outsmart and get away with things. We're way too entrenched in the palm of their hand for that to happen now.
Right.
They know what's going on, and you got to play by the rules to some extent. And I really think like big crime shit like that and stuff like that, like it's just too blatant. That's the dummy. That's the guy who doesn't really think down the road. That goes for that quick buck. You know what I'm saying? Right. Come on, man. Would you run a scam like that?
No.
You try and get over like that on some money they're trying to give the help. Like, fuck, I don't want any.
You know how many people were in my DMs talking about, do you want to collect your money for such and such? I'm just like, out of my DMs. Like,
let's think about it. Half of it ain't right at the gut of our stomach. This money is supposed to be used for people. You know what I'm saying? It's going to fuck up our economy, just right? So you start with that, and then you look at it. It's like it's just stupid. I don't want to go to federal prison for that, man.
Right.
I'm going to get busted. So I think they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but I don't think you can get away with it today, man. They know what we're doing.
Yeah.
No, bro. Yeah, I agree. I think that if somebody's coming at you on a DM about a PPP loan, sunk. Like if you go along with that scam, you're sunk. That's
right.
A spot in like 3-car money. Like it's silly. That's just silly.
Our friend Brian got one.
And he's the kind of guy that wakes up without his car, wallet, and keys and calls you and is like, where am I? And he's a grown man.
By the way, Brian calls me.
Oh, what did he say?
He calls me like 3 times and I don't answer. This is our friend Sourdough.
Yeah, Sourdough.
3 phone calls missed, and then he says, "Hey, bro, call me." Right? We miss calls and a text that says, "Hey, bro, call me." So I know right then I better stop what I'm doing, right? Because this is my 63-year-old friend Brian that he could be in trouble.
Oh, he could really be in trouble.
So I call him.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
He picks up the phone. I'm not good, man. I'm not good. I'm sick. I'm in the hospital. They take me and they're trying to find out. I'm like, holy shit. I'm scared. Testing. I'm like, all right, man, keep me posted, bro. Let me know what I can do. Keep me posted. We're checking into it. I don't hear from this guy for like a whole another day. I'm texting him, calling, answering. And the next day, I call him in the morning. He answers like, "What's up?" I go, "What the fuck happened?" He goes, "Oh, I have the flu." They're giving me some medicine. But this guy, Brian, man, like his best answer was to get the PPO loan.
Hey, listen, he just called in.
He got 10,000.
Don't put it out there like I'm some fucking lame out here.
That's him. Anyways,
what does he think about these people ripping off PPP? It's horrible.
What he's doing.
Hey, Brian, Steve says you ripped off PPP. Is that true? That's not true. All right. That's really him. He got mad. Brian is the kind of guy that will hit Big Lux up. He's 63. Okay. 63-year-old man. He'll hit Big Lux up and be like,
he looks like he's 63, but he looks like he's about 59, 60.
Right. Oh, yeah. 63 on 60.
Yeah.
He's real young.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what they say? Brian don't crack. Right. So he's the kind of guy that will call Steve up and be like, "Hey, bro, can I use your shower?"
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Like that kind of friend. That's why Steve, after 3 calls, ain't answering right away, because it's going to be like Steve's going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go pick him up. Every once in a while, I get a picture from like a picture, and it's like Steve's helping Brian do something, and Brian's like eating like a school lunch that he got with a voucher, and he's 63, and he's like giving the thumbs up, like it's all good.
Like he calls me and as a favor, he's like, "Hey, I was thinking, I don't know if you're busy." Or,
he's a Lyft driver,
right. But do you think you could drive out to Arizona and pick up a package for me? I'm like, "What did you just ask me, motherfucker?"
So random.
Yeah, like I don't. Yeah. So, anyways,
now he's the guy that he was sampling some dry goods and decided that he thought maybe his parole officer was at the front door. So he thought the best way to get out of his 3rd-story apartment was to go outside the window.
Mm-hmm.
I figured if he just hung, then the drop wouldn't be too far. But
Yeah, by the time he let go,
he realized it was too high up.
It was too high up.
Then he shattered his heel and his ankle, right? And he's crawling in San Francisco streets like a grown man crawling.
Army crawl. Army crawl.
Like out of
alley.
Out of a trench. He's like, no man's land. And there's a club, and there's a bunch of like metrosexual dudes like waiting to get in the club. And here comes Brian out of the alley with like
crawling out on
the ground. In San
Francisco, to the ground crawling
with his foot facing the other way.
Yeah. Turn around backwards.
And he's like, hey, he yells at people in the mic, call 911.
We should make a doll like that.
Oh my God, that would be great.
With the foot turned back.
Yeah,
it's an
action figure. Oh, sour.
And then you get the little engine where he crawls. Go on.
And he's like, hey, I broke my foot, call 911. And everyone in the line was like, oh, you're all right. No one will call 911. He's like,
get up, walk it off. Stop being a pussy.
Yeah, come on, tough it up. So Brian tried to call 911 on himself, and they like came. He's like, I broke my foot. He made a story. He was like, I was just horsing around on the curb and shattered my knee.
Right. He said that he stepped off the curb. He said he told the paramedics I stepped off the curb wrong. And they're like, but your heel exploded, sir.
So he was like a human armadillo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's just that's just like a basic story. And then it's my favorite. And then we had him on another time. We had another guest, Rachel Sterling, who's like a model. She's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. She's right there. And like, and we're trying to help Brian because he's getting constantly DM'd on Instagram for women that are trying to con him out of money.
Yeah. Like he gets it filled up. They're all getting at him. You're fine. They start talking. He goes, no sooner do I start talking for like a day or two. And they're like, hey, can you wire this account? This like, it's all of them are getting them, right? He's like, I don't know what's up, man.
And Steve's like this guy's lifelong buddy. So he's like trying to help him, right? And he's like, Brian, look, I've been on Instagram. I never get hit up for money. How you're something you're doing is these women to figure out like they could con you out of a car. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then and he's right there with Kitty Sterling, and he's like, that's not true. That's where I got that clip where he's like, you're putting me out there like I'm some kind of lame. But then as he explains the story, he tells us a story about some woman that how did it go? He loaned his car to her. Then she stole it.
Yeah.
Then she wrecked it.
Then she held it for hostage. And then he had to go rent another car and give it to her so he could get his car back.
Wow.
And then she wrecked that. And
then she was arrested and he paid the bail.
This is abuse over like 2-3 years.
So then we read let's a fact-finding mission. And we read his bio on Instagram. And the first thing it says is looking for that special lady that's serious about the man in her life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dead giveaway.
Well, there you go.
That's what he's trying to say.
He's got sucker written across there talking about.
He got so mad, and that's why I was like, don't be putting me out there like I'm some kind of lame. All right. Anyway. All right. Okay. Sorry, Chantal. Go ahead.
All right. So I want to do Cali Throwback. And so Cali Throwback, I want to compare the 80s and the 90s compared to now. So
right up your alley, bro.
All right. So for the 80s, pop culture in the 80s versus now, which one is better and why?
Culture in the 80s?
Music, pop culture in the 80s better than today's music.
Fuck yeah, man. Like I think there was a lot of, well, for one thing, when you're talking about the 80s, you're talking about a huge influence of European stuff in America, you know, the really opening up of like video, music videos, MTV, MP3, like a lot of introduction, and we start getting hit with like a lot of the new, like you just call it new wave, you know, the whole new wave, really, and that was kind of happening as hip hop is being birthed out of the East Coast,
right,
and starting to show up, right, and you know, you've got like, it's very, very interesting, you know, and then you've got very big hair rock and roll,
Yes.
from the coast, so at least in Southern California out here where we're at, there was this mixed culture. You also, now think about that. Those are influences that are kind of affecting the United States at that time, right? All of us.
Right.
And California. But then you start throwing in some other things. And in the 80s, you've got like this huge punk rock surge that's starting in Southern California. Right? Southern or in California. Now you've also got this big surf and skate culture that's becoming really, really big. People are like looking at this sport. We don't know it's going to be in the Olympics later, right? Skateboarding, it's dog time. That's right. Then you have this culture of gang street culture and gang culture that's kind of mixing it. So think about all these different things. Now you're not getting that everywhere. You're not getting that in Nebraska. That in Iowa, that's not in Texas. We're talking about California. And so I think that like pop culture, when we talk about pop culture, was
well, think about it. I mean, really think about it. That was when Hollywood was really Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right? The biggest movies from the 80s
filmed on the streets.
Not only that, but I mean, think about it's not 80s, but the next installment of Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and all those other things. I mean, that's George Lucas. That's California. That's pop culture. Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Right? Setting aside the pedophilia stuff.
Madonna.
Cyndi Lauper.
Huge.
Remember Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah.
All of that shit was big, and it was super concentrated in California. On top of the concept of what you're saying is that this street culture starting to, get some visibility, a little bit of visibility.
And look at all these icons that you're talking about. They're running around in Los Angeles, right? All of them,
right?
Everybody, right? Lionel Richie. I mean, everybody. Right. In LA, man. That's where everybody's at, man.
Right. And then back then, you still had a battle between Coke and Pepsi that was real. Think about that. Now it's just, nobody knows. I mean, I don't think anybody now questions whether or not Coke beat Pepsi. But at that time, it was,
absolutely
Bill Cosby versus Michael Jackson. It was Coke versus Pepsi.
Absolutely.
Because MJ was like the biggest artist of the 80s, basically.
He was the biggest artist of the 80s. There was none bigger than that guy.
Yeah.
No. His hair caught on fire. Remember that? The Pepsi commercial. That white. I was thinking about the other day. He had a white sequins glove. That was like his trademark. Think about that. What was that? His hair caught on fire, and then he was in that fucking stretcher, and he put up a white glove and was like, "I'm okay."
Obviously, we know that there was a lot going on. So that's just one more weird thing.
I know, but like, I was wondering about like, where did he get the concept of one white glove?
We're not going to carry away on that thing, but the consensus, everybody, growing up, man, like we all knew that Michael Jackson was a child molester.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, everybody knew. It was very clear that this guy's like holding hands and running around with little kids.
Yeah, but I don't think.
No, brother. It rung some people wrong from the gate. It didn't. People found it odd and knew that there was something fucked up going on from the gate.
Well, Eddie Murphy did for sure. You're right. Eddie Murphy said, you know how I know? And he didn't say he was a pedophile, but he said, you know how something's wrong.
He's a weirdo. I didn't know it was as depth though as we come to find out.
Right.
If you believe that, okay.
Right.
But I knew that there was some.
Eddie Murphy did say, remember in his stand-up, by the way, 80s when Eddie Murphy was still fucking funny.
Right.
Listen, stand-up, elite.
Right. So, but he said, he's like, you know how Michael Jackson ain't fucking any women? Because he took Brooke Shields to the Oscar Awards and nobody said shit. And then, nobody tripped out. Not a single white person was like, uh-oh. And then Eddie was like, now you all would have lost your mind if I would have took Brooke Shields.
Because you would have known he was busting her.
Yeah, because she would have got fucked at the end of the night. Yeah. If I brought the house down. Yeah. But that was true. And he took Emmanuel Lewis to the fucking Oscar Awards too. He had Brooke Shields.
But don't y'all think like him not really having a full childhood fucked them up? Like you're a grown man and you still want to hang around and have fun and sleepovers with kids. And then I look at the parents, I'm just like, why would you take a man's money, a grown man's money, because he wants your kid to come over and sleep over? Like that tells me like something's not right.
All right, look. You're right, Chantel. For the parent side, it's a little fucked up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I believe that he didn't have a childhood and that's why he's all weird? No, fuck no, I don't believe that. You know what? There's a million motherfuckers I know that have no childhood and they ain't fucking kids.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. There's a lot of people out there that had tough upbringings and you know what? They didn't get paid and people didn't kiss their ass and nobody went on again introduce him to Diana Ross. Man, I would have loved to have met Diana Ross when I was growing up. Fucking, she was fine. But my point is, I don't believe that. I think that's a cover story. When you look at the FBI profile for what a pedophile is, one of the key characteristics of pedophiles, it's not for sure, but they all have this when they do those psychological profiles. Number one, don't have normal relationships with adults. Okay. Number two, they have a lot of age inappropriate shit around their house. Like fucking carnival shit in the backyard, right? Games, pinball and shit. And then number three, they seem to be focused on the beauty and the innocence of children. They're always fascinated by the innocence of children. And that's Michael Jackson to a T. So no, can I think somebody could be as talented as he is and be a pedophile? Yes. Yes, I can. Abso-fucking-lutely. Does it break my heart? To a certain extent, it does, because I want to believe, I want to listen to Billie Jean, motherfucker. But he fucked it up. I can't listen to Billie Jean now and not think like, you know, the kid's not my son. What the fuck is he talking about? Seriously, if you go back and look at it now, knowing what you know, you can see shit leaking through his art. Pretty young thing. Repeat after me. No. Young thing. He was talking about women. Hell to the no. He was not talking about no women. So I'm not trying to rehabilitate him. I'm saying for sure. And I don't think that I don't even believe he didn't have, I don't even know what a childhood is. You know what? Now you got me crazy, Chantel. I don't even know that it's even a thing to have a childhood.
I don't. The last thing I'm gonna say, yeah, but and I will say this just because you guys brought that up. I would say I don't know that you necessarily come up with that completely on your own. Right? I don't know that. I'm not saying that exactly what he did was done to him. If some weird sexual inappropriate things were done to him, it could easily morph into what he was doing.
You know what, man?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think hurt people. Like the weird shit happened to him, and he did weird shit.
You're right. But I'm gonna say this. I'm
not excusing it.
I'm not either. I'm not saying that, but I'm gonna add on to what you're saying, Steve, to the extent that, you know, human sexuality, right, has barely begun to be fully understood. Really, we're already since like 1940, all right, adopting all these norms and saying it's this, that, and the other thing, and this is what's da. And I'm saying that's just from then, and it's only like 2020. It's not that much time to really be sitting there thinking about it. But what I will tell you is, if you go to Egyptian mythology, you go to Greek mythology, you look at there's a lot of incest between the gods.
Yeah.
And that was just accepted. Like that was like not that weird. So I think there's something weird going on with human sexuality in a sense. Like, what is Oedipus? The story of a son who killed his father and fucked his mom. We all know that. That story still endures. And that story was talked about long before these quote unquote norms that we're trying to set up now. So what I'm saying is like what kind of you said, Steve, which is like maybe there's been this weird thing that's been in there the whole time. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we also used to eat each other as cannibals. All of us are cannibals, but we don't practice that anymore.
Right.
With potentially like these divisions with Are you saying, Special K? Special K has something to say about ancient Rome and pedophilia. What?
I do not.
Oh. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I agree with you, but I think there's something deeper going on. And and also his mother was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And I'm not all Jehovah's Witnesses
man.
are bad, but I do know this from the legal perspective. There's a lot of lawsuits that involve Jehovah's Witnesses and pedophilia and cover-ups.
Because it's like their whole way that they govern their congregation is kind of like a cult, but they don't want to be said that it's a cult. But the way that they dismiss you if you don't follow their rules and their, things that they like is very cult-ish. Because my mom became a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm just like, I don't understand this stuff, so I can't come with you to none of these meetings. I can't do it. But one thing that I will never adopt as a norm is the fact that you're trying to push you being a adult being attracted to a child as a sex preference. I'm not with that shit. And there's a lot of people that's trying to push that as like a sex preference, and I'm not with it.
I'm not with it either. I don't think it should be legitimized. Yeah, I agree with that. It shouldn't be legitimized. There's a lot of things that humans have done over time that we've decided as a community are not okay.
Right.
And I agree with that. That's wrong.
Right.
Right.
But in Greece, they have, if you did any type of sexual actions with a child, it's a disability. It's not like you go to jail. It's a disability. And they did that in 2012.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
madness.
So they're treating it as an ailment.
Like a mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, that's crazy.
Again, I'm going to say this humans are all descendant of cannibals. Our ancestors ate each other at one point, and as a group, we decide we're no longer going to do that, and we don't do it. That can be done. All the other things, including pedophilia. If that was practiced somewhere in some ancient culture and you want to tell me about it, okay, but that doesn't mean it's okay now. Mm-hmm. Fuck that. Kids need to have a chance to grow and do their own thing and not be, sort of inundated with some weirdos fucking ideas.
Yeah, I remember learning about that in the 5th grade, the Oregon Trails. I was like, they was eating people. The fuck? But yeah, it was crazy. Well, all right, so let's shift to the 90s movement. The scenes in the 90s, if y'all can remember, I call that the better time. I just think the 90s set the tone for now and still, but I don't think people today respect it enough. So you have like the rave scene, you have hip hop, and I don't think these young artists today respect it enough to know where the hell it came from. And I think that's what made the music good at the time, was the fact that you knew the history of the music. These kids don't know shit.
What do you think, Steve?
God, man, I think she said a lot of good things. I think like my own experience as it ties to the 90s overall with what you're talking about. I can put it like this, like okay, from rap music to apparel to maybe even some film. Mm-hmm. You have like these generations that kind of hand things down to the next generation, right? And then, but in the 90s, there was people doing things, there was things happening, and there was no it hadn't been done before. So you were building something that there wasn't something being handed down. There wasn't somebody going before you and saying, hey, this is how this is done. There was nobody to copy, right? We were kind of building the ship. I think hip hop was building its own way. Gangster rap, there was no other gangster rap before the dudes that started gangster rap. Mm-hmm. There was, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what's happening. Like through the 90s, things were being developed that had not been developed yet. So you were going into uncharted areas, and it takes a lot of bravery to do that. Yeah, it takes ingenuity, it takes vision, and there was a lot of that in the 90s. I think today, you want to be a rapper, look at all the references you have to rap. What kind of rap? In 1990, in 91, there wasn't a couple things. It was like, but you also had the space to create your own space and do your own thing.
That's true.
So a lot of innovations when you think of music, when you think it, it was a dangerous. I can tell you this much: in Southern California, it was a dangerous time. In Los Angeles for gangs.
When was Tupac and Biggie? When were they killed?
90s, man. Those were all the
96.
Right. Yep. A lot of it was on and cracking back then, and there were areas in Los Angeles that, it was just no joke, man. Like, a lot of people today that look and dress and pop off a certain way, and it just wasn't like that back then. Like, there was less running. If you didn't want to be a part of it, man, you were nowhere around that shit, and you weren't trying to be in. But it became a culture, and people now see it as that, But it was definitely,
Hey, Special K, how old are you?
23.
Okay, so 23. Do you hear this kind of criticism about rap music or just your generation's culture from older generations?
Yeah, people use SoundCloud rappers as an insult.
Right. And what's your perspective on it? Because you're actually, somewhat related to all that. I mean, you hear this shit. At some point, does it ever just get old where you're like, look, motherfucker, somebody told you the same thing. Now you're telling us this?
There is a legit criticism. I mean, I honestly think that there's a lot of people that just kind of try to get on board and try to make money just by rapping. And I have had friends that decide they want to be rappers or whatever, and they kind of just come up with these just recycled and used ideas. Mm-hmm. And to an extent, I mean, yeah, they're just kind of trying to make a quick buck. But can this become like mumble rapping or stuff like that? Can it become like an actual thing? Yeah, it could, but I don't see the appeal, and I guess it's just preferences, honestly.
You know what? That I'll tell you something, Chantal. That conversation can go a lot of different ways. I'm definitely not one of these guys that sits around sour, chewing on lemons. These fucking kids. I hate motherfuckers like that, to be honest. I don't even fuck with people like that.
Yeah.
There is still, there's been creative and great music back then. I think there was a lot of it because there just wasn't so much of it out. Does that make sense? Less. More room to create. Now, yes, there's a lot. It's saturated. There's a lot of garbage, I think, but there's still great rap music. There's just a ton of people like Meek Mill and J. Cole, and man, these dudes are and Mozzie, and there's artists that are, dude, man, they're I would have loved them in 1992. I love them now,
and that's because they respect the music of that time. My issue is the ones that don't know shit, that think oh, that's not a good person when you bring them up. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, you're right. It's two different people that really understand the art and have paid attention to it and learned it. And you know what I'm saying? Maybe a true artist or somebody like what he's talking about. Somebody who's coming in trying to make some money. They don't know anything, Yeah. So there's a lot of that out there. And we can also, it isn't like 20 years ago. Now you get to find out about a lot of garbage you don't even want to know about because of the internet. It's all over the place.
Hello. And I'm just like, what is this? What is this that you're listening to the point of, by the time my kids get older, I want a completely new wave so I don't have to listen to what I hear now because it doesn't give me any substance. So when I brought up the Cali seriousness segment, I wanted to talk about artists today, their respect to the culture and the music as far as the West Coast goes. Do you think the West Coast is getting their respect as far as music and the culture right now?
Hell yeah. Yeah. Can I be honest?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Please, by all means.
Man. Man. I'm gonna be all real super honest.
Look, man.
Everybody is following us. Everybody's been following us. Everybody wants to be here from out here. Everybody wants to be on our shit. Everyone wants to be lowriders. Everybody wants tattoos. Everybody wants to be a gangster. Everybody wants all that shit, but you're not. So we are leading the way. We've been leading the way. Everybody copies California. And we're driving the car on every level, whether it be food, content, music, style, fashion, everything, everything. We lead the way. And I say that because I also was around early in the 90s when people weren't giving it up for LA. People weren't giving it up over here, man. Everything was New Yorked out. Everything was New York. But we just kept to ourselves and did our shit. We had something that maybe everybody didn't understand. But slowly the tables have changed. And today we lead. So California culture leads on just, I just think we dominate. And that's the way I come at everything I do. That's the way when I go places, you're going to show respect. You're jocking me because I'm from LA. And that is the way. And I don't care. When I get to New York, when I go to Florida, when I go to Chicago, everybody's on me because I'm from LA. And in some way or another, they're trying to mimic what I did and what I do. Mm-hmm. So we run shit. And that's globally, man. The whole world is looking at us. And it's because we're fucking cool. You know, we are innovators. We are progressive. We create shit. It's not that hard for us to do. So, excuse me for sounding really arrogant, but that's how I feel about California. We always been leading it. And just now in the last 20 years, people found out about it, but we've always, man, been on point on all this shit, man. We do things people just can't do in the rest of the world.
Right. Listen, I agree with that. Big Tiny, you agree with that? I agree with that, but I'm going to add just a little different.
No, you're not going to add anything. Next question.
No, I'm going to add something because I think it's important to point out.
Yes, please, Chauman, please.
When Big Luck says that LA, is leading the way and all that stuff, it's absolutely true. And I think one of the things that makes it that way is that some of the best and the brightest from other parts of the world have come to LA. Okay. When you are in LA, you meet homegrown LA folk like Big Lux, right? But you also meet a lot of different talented artists from around the world that wanted to come and live in LA. They wanted to create their dream in LA. And it's a real important thing to understand that when you come to LA, because of Hollywood, because of the music scene, because of in San Francisco and Stanford, because of the digital scene and all that stuff, you're not just competing against the people that are from California, but you're starting to compete against people who came to California because they didn't want to live where they were at.
Yeah.
Fucking Poland, fucking Cleveland. I mean, no disrespect, but the truth of the matter is that the best and the brightest get yanked out to California because of the lifestyle that we've got out there. So while at the same time, God, to a certain extent, yes, LA is leading the way, but partially it's because some of the best people from around the world decided to move there to build their dreams. And that's the goddamn truth. I don't care what anybody says. The hippie movement, in part, it was brought by the Germans. Believe it or not, Germany, right? Not the fascist style, but the Germans that moved to California in the early days, like in the 40s. Anaheim is a fucking German town. Why? Heim. It was two musicians, German musicians, okay, who wanted to make grapes so they could make wine, and they did back in the 20s. And Anaheim, the Heim means home in German, Anna from Santa Ana River, they combine it. And that's what you get in California. You get the best and the brightest from around the world with the best and the brightest in California, and they mix something together that you can't get anywhere else. And the West Coast is the most coast because all of that old world influence from Europe, right? London, France. And I'm not totally against those places. They got their high points. Right. But most of that shit gets shaved away by the time they've moved to California.
Yeah. We don't have That's different. You don't have that. The East Coast has all its great things, but you have that. I'm glad you said that, Juhan. It's true, man.
Even the name California itself, no one's 100% clear like how that came to be a name. That some people say that it's from a medieval novel from the Queen Khalifa. Some people think it's Muslim because Khalifa, but they're not 100% sure. They just know it's a brand new word. California is a brand new word. It's an entire fucking state. American Indian history, Spanish history, American history combined, and you got a state that's got a name that's a new fucking word, a bon mot, as the French would call it. So think about that in terms of what that means for dreaming. Why did Elon Musk from South Africa via Canada come to California to build SpaceX? Why did he do it? Why did Walt Disney come to fucking California to build Disneyland? Why the fuck did he do it?
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck? It's like that. Why is Stanford the epicenter? Why is Google? Why is Yahoo? Well, they're not anything anymore.
McDonald's,
Google, McDonald's, all of these things. Why are they in California? Why? And I partially think it's because in our state, we have the most open-minded way to go, and it pushes some people out. Some people are like, "This is too fucking crazy. I'm not going to do them." You're driving, you're driving electric cars with lettuce wheels. I'm not fucking. That's just fucking. I'm not dealing with it. I'm out. So okay, we have a couple of guests, Chantel, that are in. We're gonna have to, I think, wrap up soon if that's okay with you.
That's the end of it. Anything else y'all want to plug in or tell these people where to find y'all?
Yeah, hardluckshow.com, IG Hard Luck Show.
The Hard Luck Show.
The Hard Luck Show. Chauman _ you can hit me up. Steve, what's your
Big
IG?
Luck 17.
Big Luck 17, you can hit him up. Sean Allen Lewis, he's a socially awkward guy, so please talk to him and ask him a lot of personal questions. We're plugging Hard to Kill.
Mm-hmm.
We're plugging Supermax, the clothing brand.
Supermax.com.
We're plugging Westlos, the documentary.
Yes.
We're plugging
Cookies. We're plugging Vibes and Enzo's Pizzeria.
Right. And Ovando Bowen, LLP, I Wear Braids to Court. Let the tomahawks fly.
Yes.
Hard.
Thank you for having us on your show.
Yes, that's how it was. You are. Come out to Cali. We're going to give you the big tour.
Yeah, we're going to take care of you.
We got then we're Georgia, and you're going to take us all around.
I'm looking forward to it. Man, thank y'all for coming through and showing some West Coast appreciation. I appreciate y'all.
God bless Georgia. I love the South. That's the truth. Wow.